Hello, good morning. We're at Just for Fun, my local game store here in Central Illinois, and we're getting ready for the 1750 point tank shock tournament. Hopefully, my list is ready. We'll see what I've got to go up against. So through the day, I'll kind of take moments to pause after each battle, kind of show you what happened, what I faced. All right. All right. Well, the tournament wasn't as large as I expected it to be. Actually, not as large as anyone expected it to be. We had 10 gamers at the 750 point tournament. Only 4 of them were able to return to this one, and we picked up 2 other guys who happened to be in the game shop prior to the tournament. They could stick around at least for the first round, so we picked up 2 for the first round, 2 additional players. So it was 6 of us to start. The tournament organizers decided not to postpone it or cancel it. We're gonna have fun with it anyway. So we drew randomly who was going to fight whom, and I drew an orc player first. So we rolled off, and he decided to deploy first, and of course I didn't mind that at all. Of course, he has a Stampa, so he did borrow that from the game or tournament organizer, and fortunately I had some stuff that could deal with it, but I was a little worried that coming in turn 2, it might give him 2 full rounds of shooting this for the Stampa. That might not be good for him. For me, actually. So he deployed, as you can see on this particular picture. Stampa kind of in the center, but he held it back for some reason. He was, I guess, scared of losing it. Had some Knob War bikers on his right flank, some regular Orc War bikers on his left flank, a truck in the far left, and a battle wagon dead center. He had loaded his Stampa with a unit. I didn't really pay attention to which units he had. I was just too busy getting set up. My stuff set up. If you saw my review of the 1750 list I posted, there's quite a few models, so I was too distracted getting ready to notice what he had where. So when it came time for me to deploy, in the far right, I deployed just 5 what would be Cavalite warriors on my Glade Guard, hidden behind some rocks. Visibly, they couldn't get in front because the deployment zone didn't extend far enough, but I put them right up against the deployment zone limit. And then my 2 Lehman Russ, the commander, and his buddy, I hung back and to the right, as kind of far away from the Stampa as I could without backing up against the corner of the table. Left me some good line of sight to the Stampa and his battle wagon, so I could do some damage there. And actually, if I was able to steal initiative, I'd get side armor on his battle wagon, which is important when you have a Vanquisher and with the las cannon. Now, I took a second unit of Cavalite warriors and an Archon, hit it right up in the center of the table, right behind another rocky ice outcropping, so you couldn't see it, couldn't shoot it. I got lucky and actually stole the initiative, so that was fantastic for me. I adjusted the position of my exterminator a bit and unloaded most of the firepower on a unit of war bikes and took out 2 of the war bikes on his right flank, or left flank, on his left flank. And the Vanquisher was able to pop he tried to pop the battle wagon. Took a hull point off. That's about it, though. I was able to move my Cavalites that were out in the open up into the rocks so that it couldn't have a line of sight, but I would be able to be in position to shoot poison rounds at war bikes and at boys in the truck if they came out. Now, when he did come forward, he wasn't very aggressive with his Stampa. He did, lay fire down, but he did run out of ammunition. Actually, on his second turn, from one of his guns, Gatling gun, and it was kind of neat to watch because he was really trying to push his units far forward as he could, but being that Stampa was so large and there was terrain in the way, he was worried about his battle wagon kind of getting immobilized, and so he hung that back a little bit too far. He didn't actually try to get it forward with the like a flat out. His truck though he did, so he was racing that up the whole right hand side of the table. Yeah, here was the view at the start of the second turn. We got a Stampa staring down, looking to charge at me, and I still needed to deal with his units on the right flank, my right flank. Fortunately, most of my units came in. You'll actually see in the lower right-hand corner the yellow armor of one of my jet bikers. And so I put a few jet bikers to the right to deal with the boys in the truck and the lone biker that was remaining. I put the rest of my units to the far left to handle the orc knobs, as well as the anything that might come out of that battle wagon and try to work its way to that side of the table. Now, unfortunately, only one of my two Spriggan units, those are my D-side race guard, the Spriggans came down, and I was able to get it, of course, within range and to lay a bunch of D weapons on that Stampa, but I can only get, it was only 6 hull points, so a pretty mediocre roll, and I couldn't get all of them in one shot. Now, his response surprised me. The Stampa just left me and walked forward again to try to get into my lines and just wreak havoc. It kind of surprised me. I thought he'd just turn around and stomp me, you know. But actually, he had a better plan. He unloaded his battle wagon, which I had actually immobilized with my Vanquisher shot. He unloaded it, and I had a whole bunch of boys. I honestly forget the number. It's just swarm my guard. Now before he charged in, he landed a kill cannon shot on it. Unfortunately, even though he was orc shooting, he still landed and got everybody. And so I lost quite a few units that way. I think I lost 3 of my Wraith Guard. And then came the assault, and he basically wiped through all but one. And then I, of course, struck back and took out quite a few of his. But they were locked in combat, so all in all, a pretty good round. I guess I held up his battle wagon and the contents, so they weren't actually going to be a threat to my lines, my jet bikes, and my foot units. So when the third round came in, I was able to again drop the next Wraith Guard squad and take out the Stampa. Now I remember there was stuff in it, so I positioned all my reserves so that whatever came out of it, I'd be able to get fire on, and so it's almost my entire army. He hadn't taken anything out except maybe a few jet bikes and some reavers, nothing major. And then, bam! It exploded, and there's a whole unit of Meganobs with Gazgul and Warboss in there. It's like, oh shoot! So it was just a matter of turning everything I had on him and just dropping shots in. And over the course of the next couple turns, that's exactly what I had to do. I just wore him out, kept retreating as he tried to move forward, so he could never get that charge off. He did charge my Wraith Guards that dropped in and did wipe that out completely. But and unfortunately, I only took out one of his. Rolled really bad on my D-side rolls, and he was a real threat. I had to continually back away and take time, but I was able to eventually table him, and I won that match. Now that match was you earn the points equal to the value of the units, complete units destroyed. So I won 1750. Another player of the 6 also tabled his opponent, so he was 1750 as well. And then we had a Space Marine player and an AdMech player, and the AdMech player won by about 100 points. So a pretty close game there. The other games was kind of like mine. So that's how that one ended. And this is where you'll see in the table here. There's just a big hole where my deployment tanks used to be. That's where his Meganobs were, and I just had to surround him and just keep shooting everything I could to whittle him down. And it's just a matter of overwhelming the saving throws. So that's how I took care of the first orc player and won that round. Now, in the second round came, the 2 winners of round 1 had to face off. So I was going up against the Pain Train. And this is the deployment of my opponent. You'll see he has a Revenant Titan, that's an old armor cast model, but a Revenant Titan, 2 Wraith Knights, a Wave Serpent, and a little itty bitty Viper jet bike. This was a Dawn of War mission. I'm sorry, not Dawn of War mission. I was expecting it to be a Eternal War, but it turned out to be a Altar of War mission. That it was the Scorched Earth. So there are like 7 pieces of terrain on the board. All of it was smoking, and some of it was dangerous terrain. So the entire footprint of that terrain blocks line of sight vertically. Basically, if you draw any line of sight through over the edge of that area of terrain, it's blocked because of all the smoke. So it actually worked in my favor. I was able to hide better. So my deployment had to be a little bit different. Basically, I tucked a 5-man Cabalite squad, my Glade Guard, up in the corner of the ruins there. It can't be seen, you can't be shot at, right? And then backed my tanks against this, basically against the wall, against the table edge in my deployment quadrant, behind this burning forest, so that I had blocked line of sight. And I probably should have actually left them off the table, put some other unit on there hiding to make it hard to get to. In the end, my opponent has a 36-inch jump move that his Revenant can do. I did not realize that. I haven't gone over the Revenant Titan stats in over a year, and I haven't finished reading my Doom of my Mirror book that I just got. So I was kind of caught off guard. But of all the players there, I was the only player who did have something that could deal with his super heavies. But it was going to be a challenging game. Now this game was actually objective based. There were 5 objectives scattered on the table, and it was all about holding those. Unfortunately, when he moved up so aggressively with that Revenant, I kind of lost sight of the objectives and went back into the mode of the first round, which was all about taking out units. I wasn't even pretending that I could table them, but I was trying to earn points for destroying, units. Each unit was a lot of points, so I made some poor choices there. But I also had some bad rolling, so brought in basically everything came in my second turn, except for 1 jet bike unit and a squad of guardsmen. That's it. Everything else came in, and I dropped the Spriggans, or the Wraith Guard units, one of his knights, one against his Revenant Titan. Unfortunately, I didn't realize the Revenant Titan's shielding can actually stop D weapons regardless of die roll, because you make the roll before. Basically on a 4-up, you get to execute the armor penetration or the D weapon roll. If it's on a 1, 2, or 3, you don't get to. So I had a pretty good roll as far as number of dice or number of hull points that I could do, but only 2 of my 6 flamer templates actually got through that hollow field, and so I only pulled off 6 hull points, which isn't bad, or actually only 5 hull points, sorry, but still not as much as I thought. In the Wraith Knight, unfortunately, he made all his Feel No Pain rolls, and I didn't take anything off him. So, I did take off one wound. Yeah, so it was bad. From that point on, my concentration kind of slipped, because, like I said, I started focusing on trying to kill, and that put me in a bad position until turn 4. I realized, wait a second, this is a objective game. Turn 5 is coming up. I need to position myself to take objectives at the end of turn 5. Now, since I went second, I basically spread my bikes across the table right up against the edge, so that his blasts had a chance of scattering off the table for no effect. Didn't work too well because he hit almost every time with a direct hit. But I just couldn't caught him off guard because he was attempting to destroy everything so that he didn't have to have that objective fight. He only had 5 units. I had, I can't remember how many. And I had objective securing units as well. So he had a lot to worry about. And so he had to send his units, scatter them all across the table to try to deal with my units to prevent them from holding objectives. But at the end of turn 5, I had placed everything in a way that I was scoring 7 points to his 2. I denied him all of his objectives, secured 2 of my own, and headline breaker. He had got first blood and slay the warlord, so it was a 7-2 at the end of turn 5. Unfortunately, I rolled and it went on to turn 6, during which he ended up tabling me. So in the end, this is all that was left. Now, you can see he's got all 5 units on one of his Wraith Knights. The torso came off the leg, so it's laying there. But that's the position. He was spread out pretty far against the objectives. It was a blast, though. Again, I knew that I had to deal with some super heavies. I brought a list that could. It did okay. Poor rolling in there on my part. I did make some critical mistakes. Fortunately, my opponent made a couple, so it wasn't as devastating. But I was in a position at turn 5 to win. Dice roll, of course, was against me, so I got tabled. But we had a blast. Mike took first place, got a Space Marine Anniversary Edition model out of it. I took second, got a piece of paper saying I got second. It was fun. We're all friends there, and so it was a very enjoyable kind of a tournament. Now Mike's not usually the kind of guy who is a win at all costs, but I guess he got burned in the 750 point list. Kind of might say he brought a knife to a gunfight because there were super heavies in the 750 point tank shock tournament, and he had no answer to it, so he overcompensated, but he did a good job. It was a list that was very tough. I could have done better against it, but it was fun playing it. And of course, he's a great modeler. He has beautiful paint scheme on his Eldar, and it was pure joy. So that's the way the Tank Shock tournament went. Not quite what I expected, but still a lot of fun. I think I'm going to try another tournament one more time, just to make sure that it's something that I'll enjoy. So far, I've had fun. My super competitive streak hasn't really come out and turned me into that guy at a tournament yet. So we'll see. I might have fun with this some more. All right. So I hope you had fun watching this, and thank you for sticking around. See you in the next video. Bye. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.